Hi everyone, Anat Kessler here with a new video tutorial, and today we're going to use old jewelry to create a 3D or a textured mixed media canvas. So my canvas has no gesso on it. That means that it doesn't have that white cover. So I'm going to cover it with a coat of gesso. Of course, you can go ahead and buy a canvas that is already primed, that is already covered with gesso. And I'm using a 6x6 canvas, and you can of course choose whatever size of canvas you want to work on. So I'm just going to speed things up and cover the entire canvas, sides too, and let that dry. This is my box of jewelry. This is basically junk jewelry that I got from my mom, from my grandma, from my old jewelry. I got some at a garage sale for a few dollars, and basically the reason that I'm using jewelry is because I want the shape. At the end, we're not going to see the colors of the jewelry, but just their shapes, and that's the textures that we're going to add to our mixed media canvas. So you can get this junk jewelry almost at any garage sale or flea market, or even your own jewelry, the ones that have no value whatsoever, not the gold or silver ones, of course. So what I'm doing is I'm picking the pieces that I want to use, and if they have a locket or a chain or something for an earring, just removing it because I want the shape. So these used to be butterfly earrings. So I'm removing the earring part, and I'm left with the butterfly. And this is a chain that I'm cut only one piece of it. And basically I'm looking for pieces which have texture. So maybe they have an interesting shape. Maybe they have height, they're not flat, and just going through my box, picking all the pieces that I want to put on my canvas. And when you do that, you can also use flowers, you can use any other piece that has embellishment or metal or wood or fabric, whatever you can find if you don't have jewelry, as long as it has some kind of a shape that can later give you the texture that you want on your canvas. I've made such a canvas, such a mixed media canvas a while back, a few years ago. I'll put the link at the end of this video so you can go ahead and see another technique to do it. That one is a little bit more elaborate. Now I want to add some chipboard letters, and you can see that I'm attaching them from the last letter to the first one. This is just a tip that if you want to add something that has letters on it, separate letters to a project, this will make sure that you never run out of room. So you start from the end of the word and go to the start of the word. Start from the right side going to the left. This makes sure that all the letters can fit. So basically now what I'm doing is attaching all my old jewelry to the canvas. This is a really easy process. You can just use whatever glue you have. It's supposed to be a strong glue. I'm using tacky glue, but you can use whatever glue you have. You can use E6000, you can use super glue, you can use a white glue, you can use any liquid glue, because those stick types are not strong enough. So I'm just covering the entire space of the canvas with the pieces of jewelry that I have. And of course, again, I want to say that if you don't have any jewelry, you can use any pieces of embellishments that you have that you can use for this. As long as they have texture, they have some kind of a shape, a height, a 3D element, something. Just removing that ring that was there, the jump ring. And you can add your shapes as closely or as separately as you want on the canvas. They can be really tight, that you can leave empty spaces in between. This is when you get to design how your canvas will look at the end. And this can also be a really good idea if you have old toys or old ephemera items that you want to keep. So instead of putting them in the box, you can make an art piece out of them and use them in a 3D or a mixed media canvas like I'm doing right now. So I'm just adding a few fake pearls, cutting the chain that I have, the necklace. It's not real, it's plastic, obviously. So now the canvas looks not really pretty. You have a lot of things on it, there is no cohesive color, it looks like a really big mess, right? But we're going to turn it into a really beautiful piece of art. So after the glue is dry, we're going to start covering all the pieces with gesso. The reason that we're doing that is because we don't want the colors of the jewelry or their material, we just want the shape. So when we cover everything with gesso, we give everything the same look, and it's a double duty here, and that cover, that coat of gesso that we're adding will allow us later to add the colors that we want to our canvas with acrylic paints or sprays like I'm going to use. So basically the gesso, like we primed the canvas, now we're priming all the jewelry, because that gesso will allow them to accept any material, any paint, any spray on them. So you have to take a long bristled brush and simply cover everything with the gesso and go into all the nooks and crannies to make sure that you'll get a beautiful result later. And if you see that one coat is not enough, then after the first coat dries, just add a second coat of gesso. And it doesn't matter if you use white gesso, clear gesso, black gesso, it doesn't really matter as long as you cover everything. And I mean really everything. A little bit time consuming, but the result is really worth it. So I'm going on with covering everything. This thing is not dry, so it moves, but it's okay, it will dry up really soon. And you have to make sure that your gesso, the coat of gesso that you've added, is completely dry before you continue to the next step. Otherwise you'll get a lot of mess on your canvas and you don't want that. So I'm just making sure that everything is covered, adding a little bit more here and there. And once that's dry, we can go ahead and continue. So I'm going to use sprays, any type of spray that you have. I'm going to use orange, yellow, and green. And what I'm going to do is simply start spraying the canvas with these three colors. And the idea is to cover everything with color. And of course you will need more than one coat. So after I sprayed the first coat, I'm going to let it dry. If you have a heat tool, then you can dry everything with a heat tool. And then you can go ahead and keep spraying. I like to do at least 3 or 4 coats of sprays. So I simply keep on spraying another coat and another coat of spray. And you can just keep on spraying until you're happy with the result. You have to like the final result, of course, and you can see them also spraying on the sides of the canvas. And once you're happy with the result, then you can stop adding the colors. If you don't have sprays, you can do the same thing with acrylic paints and simply use a brush to apply the paint onto your canvas. Of course, you will have to, acrylic paint is less liquid, less fluid than sprays, so of course you will have to use the brush to go to all the nooks and crannies and make sure that everything is covered with the paint. Again, I'll have a link for you to another canvas I did with the same technique, and you can see I've used some acrylic paints there, so you can see how to do that. So I want to add another coat of sprays because I want the colors to be really vibrant, really strong. And I also recommend not to use more than 3 colors because then you'll get mud. Too many colors are actually distracting and they don't blend very well. So 3 colors I think is the ideal number of colors to use. And you can see that the more sprays I add, they go inside the nooks and crannies, and then you start getting shadows and highlights on your canvas, and that's really cool. So I'm going to keep on spraying and drying until I'm happy with the result. And you can see that it looks really cool. Now all you see is texture and shapes, and the canvas is really, really unique. So it's a unique piece of art that you can make from junk that you have lying around your house in drawers or somewhere. So I really hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video so you won't miss anything. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you next time in my next video.